Hello, friends. In today's video, we are going to see the first meeting between Elizabeth and Darcy in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Before we start, please subscribe for more videos. Also, like and comment after watching the video. Your comments motivate us to create more videos. Let's start. The Bennets were an ordinary family living in an ordinary house in the country. They had 5 daughters and not a son to carry on the family name. In those days, it was very important for women to marry well. Otherwise, they would have very limited options for their future. Mrs. Bennet was always thinking about how to get her daughters married. One day, a wealthy bachelor, Mr. Bingley, moved into a large house near the Bennets. Mrs. Bennet was very excited and saw this as an opportunity to marry off one of her daughters. She started preparing her daughters for his arrival by instructing them on how to behave properly in society. At the same time, another rich man, Mr. Darcy, who was known for his arrogance and pride, moved into a grand estate in the neighborhood. He was Bingley's friend and would often visit him at his home. Soon, invitations started arriving for the Bennet family to visit Mr. Bingley and Mr. Darcy at their homes. All the daughters were excited to go and show off their beautiful dresses and meet new people. When Elizabeth heard that Bingley and Darcy were coming to dinner, she went to help her mother prepare for their arrival. She found her mother setting the table with the finest china and silverware. There were already 3 places set when Elizabeth entered the dining room. Her mother looked up and said, "Don't be surprised to find 3 places laid for dinner tomorrow. Mr. Bingley and 2 friends are to dine with us." Elizabeth was taken aback by her mother's words. She did not expect guests to come so soon. She thought maybe her mother was exaggerating, but decided not to question her. The next day, the family was gathered for dinner when they heard a knock at the door. Mr. Bennet told Elizabeth to go and open the door. When Elizabeth opened the door, she was shocked to find 2 men standing there. One of them was tall and handsome with an air of wealth and importance. The other was shorter and thinner with a sharp nose and shifty eyes. Elizabeth guessed that the taller one must be Mr. Bingley and the shorter one, Mr. Darcy. Mr. Bennet was very polite and welcomed them into his home. After some pleasantries, Bingley and Darcy took their places at the dinner table. Elizabeth noticed that her mother was staring at Bingley while talking animatedly, trying to catch his attention. She also noticed that Darcy kept stealing glances at her, which made her uncomfortable. During dinner, Elizabeth noticed that Darcy was not as friendly or polite as Bingley. He seemed to look down on the Bennets and their way of life. Elizabeth couldn't understand why he was acting this way, but she couldn't help but dislike him for it. After dinner, the men went to the drawing room to meet the rest of the Bennet sisters. Elizabeth saw an opportunity to escape the suffocating atmosphere and went out for a walk in the garden. As she strolled through the gardens, she noticed Darcy following her. She stopped to confront him and asked why he was following her. Darcy responded by criticizing her family and her way of life. Elizabeth was furious and told him that he was out of line. The two argued back and forth until Darcy finally left. A few days later, Elizabeth attended a social gathering where she saw Darcy again. He was there with Bingley, who seemed very cheerful and at ease. Elizabeth noticed that Darcy was not as friendly as Bingley and that he kept a distance from her. She couldn't understand why he was behaving this way, but she couldn't help but feel hurt by his coldness. As the evening wore on, Elizabeth began to notice small acts of kindness from Darcy. He paid for a poor family's dinner who couldn't afford to pay their bill. He helped an elderly lady with her heavy shawl. And he even gave money to a beggar who approached him for help. Elizabeth was surprised by his generosity and began to see him in a new light. At the end of the party, Darcy approached Elizabeth and asked her to dance. She hesitated, but eventually agreed. As they danced, Darcy apologized for his previous behavior and explained that he had been rude to her because he didn't like her family. Elizabeth forgave him and the two began dating. 6 months later, Darcy proposed to Elizabeth. She accepted and the two were married in a beautiful ceremony. They lived happily ever after. So this was the story of Elizabeth and Darcy's first meeting in Pride and Prejudice. If you like this story, then please like this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe and comment. We will see you in the next video.